I wake up at 4:30 a.m. to the sound of my phone alarm, the screen casting a dim blue light across my tiny studio apartment. The air is stale, the radiator barely working against the Denver winter creeping through the thin walls. My breath fogs in front of me as I sit up, my body aching from yesterday's double shift. The apartment is barely bigger than a closet, a single room with a mattress on the floor, a mini fridge humming in the corner, and a microwave balanced on a folding chair. But it's mine, and for now it's all I have. I rub my eyes and force myself to stand. The cracked linoleum floor is cold under my bare feet. I don't have time for a real breakfast, so I grab a granola bar from the shelf, the last one, and chew it slowly, making it last. The water from the sink tap runs brown for a few seconds before clearing. I wash my face with icy water, the shock helping to wake me up. By 5:15 a.m., I'm out the door, my breath visible in the freezing air. The bus stop is 3 blocks away, and I walk quickly, my hands shoved deep into the pockets of my secondhand coat. The streets are empty except for the occasional car and the flickering neon signs of all-night diners. I think about my parents as I walk, how, just 2 years ago, I was still in college, still had a future. Then the accident happened. No warning, no goodbye. Just a phone call from the police, and a life shattered in an instant. The bus arrives, half empty. I swipe my pass and take a seat near the back, pressing my forehead against the cold window. The city passes by in a blur of gray buildings and early morning fog. My first job starts at 6 a.m., cashier at a grocery store on the edge of downtown. The manager, Mr. Kowalski, is a gruff man who doesn't tolerate lateness. I clock in with 2 minutes to spare. The hours drag. My feet hurt from standing, my back stiff from the repetitive motions of scanning items, bagging groceries, forcing smiles for customers who barely look at me. Some are kind. Most are indifferent. A few are outright rude, snapping when I ask if they want paper or plastic, as if I've personally offended them. I don't react. I can't afford to lose this job. At 2 p.m., my shift ends. I have exactly 45 minutes to get across town to my second job. I eat a sandwich from the store's clearance section on the bus, counting the minutes. The business center where I clean is sleek and modern, a world away from the grocery store. Here, I'm invisible. The people in suits walk past me like I'm part of the furniture. I mop floors, empty trash bins, wipe down glass doors with streaks still visible under the fluorescent lights. By the time I finish at 10 p.m., my body is numb with exhaustion. The night bus home is quieter, the streets darker. I think about the psychology textbooks gathering dust under my bed, the degree I had to abandon when the money ran out. Sometimes, in rare moments of weakness, I let myself dream about going back. But then reality crashes in, the rent due next week, the electricity bill I've been putting off, the relentless cycle of work and survival. I unlock my apartment door and step inside, the silence pressing down on me. There's a single framed photo on the windowsill, my parents and me at my high school graduation, all of us smiling, unaware of what would come. I don't let myself look at it for too long. I change into sweatpants and a t-shirt, too tired to shower. The bed creaks as I collapse onto it, my muscles screaming in relief. Tomorrow will be the same. And the day after that. And the day after that. But for now, I close my eyes and try to sleep. Because at 4:30 a.m., it all starts again. It's another endless Tuesday at the grocery store, the fluorescent lights humming overhead like tired insects. My feet ache from 6 hours of standing, my lower back stiff from twisting to scan items. The checkout line never seems to shrink. Just when I think I'm catching up, 3 more customers appear with overflowing carts. I keep my customer service smile glued in place, nodding mechanically at complaints about prices, murmuring empty pleasantries. Near the end of my shift, an elderly woman shuffles into my line. She moves carefully, one gnarled hand gripping the shopping basket while the other steadies herself against the conveyor belt. Her silver hair is neatly pinned back, her wool coat slightly frayed at the cuffs but clearly well cared for. The basket holds only 2 items, a small bottle of arthritis medication and a box of chamomile tea. When I ring up her purchase, she reaches into her purse with trembling fingers. I watch as her expression changes from calm to confusion, then to quiet distress. She checks her coat pockets, then the purse again, more frantically this time. Behind her, a man in a business suit sighs loudly and checks his watch. I'm so sorry, dear, the woman says, her voice breaking slightly. I must have left my wallet at home. The manager on duty, a pimply college kid named Jason, appears at my shoulder. No wallet, no sale, he says in that bored tone he uses for anything requiring basic human decency. Next customer, please. The woman's face falls. She looks at the medication, then at the growing line of impatient customers behind her. No one meets her eyes. The businessman clears his throat pointedly. Without thinking, I reach into the pocket of my apron where I keep my tips, $12 in crumpled ones and change. I smooth out the bills and slide them across the scanner. It's covered, I say quietly. The woman's eyes well up. She reaches across the counter and squeezes my hand with surprising strength. Bless you, child, she whispers. Her fingers feel papery thin but warm against my skin. As she gathers her bag, she pauses to study my name tag, really looks at it, like she's committing it to memory. Then she's gone, leaving behind only the faint scent of lavender and the imprint of her gratitude lingering on my palm. Jason rolls his eyes as he walks away. The businessman slams his groceries down without comment. The moment passes, swallowed by the relentless rhythm of the checkout line. But for some reason, my hands don't shake as much as I bag his items. That night, when I count my remaining tips, I don't regret the missing $5.47. Not one bit. The scent of roasted chicken and rosemary fills the elegant dining room as I set the table with our good china. My hands move automatically, arranging each piece just so, the silverware precisely spaced, the crystal water glasses catching the chandelier's light. 40 years of hosting dinner parties have made this ritual second nature. Through the arched doorway, I watch Michael working at his laptop, his brow furrowed in concentration. Even at home, he carries the weight of his clinics like an invisible mantle across his shoulders. The soft glow from the screen highlights the premature streaks of gray at his temples. My brilliant, driven son, who built an empire but forgot how to smile. When I place the serving dish on the table, the china makes a soft clink that finally draws his attention. He closes the laptop with a sigh and takes a seat, already mentally compiling tomorrow's to-do list. I can see it in the way his fingers tap restlessly against the tablecloth. As we begin eating, the memory of that girl at the grocery store surfaces again. The way her tired eyes had softened when she handed me those crumpled bills. The warmth of her hand against mine. You'll never guess what happened today, I say, watching Michael's absent nod as he chews. A complete stranger paid for my medication when I forgot my wallet. This catches his attention. His fork pauses halfway to his mouth. At that discount store near your apartment? You shouldn't be shopping there anyway. I ignore the protective edge in his voice. It wasn't about the money, Michael. It was the way she did it. No hesitation, no expectation of thanks. Just simple kindness. He sets down his fork, studying my face in that analytical way of his. I can see the gears turning, calculating risks, assessing motives. The same look he gives potential business partners before negotiations. Did you get her name? Emily, I say, touching my napkin to my lips. Her name tag said Emily Carter. Michael pulls out his phone and types something quickly. Within minutes, his assistant will be compiling a dossier on the stranger who showed me kindness. Part of me wants to protest this invasion of privacy, but another part, the mother's part, stays quiet, because I recognize the rare spark of genuine interest in my son's eyes. Later that night, I hear Michael on the phone in his study, his voice low but intense. Through the cracked door, I catch fragments. Parents deceased, working 2 jobs, no criminal record. When I pass by again, he's sitting in the dark, staring at something on his computer screen. The blue light reflects off his face, revealing an expression I haven't seen in years, something between wonder and quiet shame. On the desk beside him, a printed report shows a grainy surveillance photo of a young woman mopping floors in an empty office building, her shoulders slumped with exhaustion, but her chin held stubbornly high. I close the door softly and walk away, my heart beating faster than it has in years. For the first time since his father died, I see a crack in the armor Michael has built around himself. And somehow, impossibly, it was put there by a grocery store cashier with $5 to her name. The grocery store's back exit door creaks as I push it open, releasing me into the alley where dumpsters overflow with cardboard boxes and rotting produce. Another 14-hour day behind me, my body moves on autopilot, left at the broken streetlight, 3 blocks to the bus stop, try not to think about the blisters forming beneath my worn-out sneakers. A sleek black town car idles near the alleyway, so out of place in this neighborhood that I instinctively cross the street to avoid it. Then the window rolls down, and I see her, the woman from last week, the one whose medicine I paid for. Mrs. Harper. "Emily, dear," she calls out in that cultured voice that somehow carries over the city noises. "Let me give you a ride home." My first instinct is to refuse. Strangers in nice cars don't offer rides to grocery clerks in bad neighborhoods. But there's something in her eyes, not pity, but quiet understanding, that makes my feet move toward the car before my brain can protest. The leather seats sigh under my weight, smelling of lemon polish and something floral. Mrs. Harper chats easily as the car glides through streets I usually see from a smudged bus window. She mentions needing help organizing some paperwork at her home, asks if I wouldn't mind assisting for an hour. The $20 bill she presses into my palm when I hesitate seals the deal. We drive higher into the hills where the houses grow farther apart, gates appearing between stretches of manicured evergreens. When the car finally stops, I have to press my face against the window to see the top of the stone mansion looming above us. My reflection in the glass shows wide eyes and a slack jaw. Inside, the foyer could fit my entire apartment twice over. A chandelier drips crystal teardrops above us as Mrs. Harper leads me to a sitting room where tea and sandwiches wait on a silver tray. My stomach growls despite my nerves. "Before we look at those papers," Mrs. Harper says, producing an envelope thick enough to make my throat go dry, "I wanted to properly thank you. I know what's inside without looking. Enough to cover 3 months' rent. Maybe 6. My fingers twitch at my sides, but I shake my head. I can't accept that. The words hang between us as the grandfather clock ticks in the corner. Then a new voice cuts through the silence. "Mom said you'd say that." A man stands in the doorway, tall, impeccably dressed, with an air of authority that makes me sit up straighter. Mrs. Harper's son, clearly, though his sharp features lack her warmth. He studies me with an intensity that makes my cheeks heat. "Michael Harper," he says by way of introduction, taking the seat across from me. "What my mother failed to mention is that I own several medical clinics in the city. We're looking for someone with your particular qualities." He lays out the offer matter-of-factly. A full-time position as his assistant, triple my current combined income, health benefits, tuition reimbursement. The numbers swim before my eyes. With this salary, I could go back to school, get my degree, have a real future. When he finishes, the room spins slightly. This can't be real. People like me don't get handouts from wealthy strangers. There must be strings attached, some hidden cost I'm not seeing. But looking between Mrs. Harper's encouraging smile and her son's steady gaze, I find myself nodding before logic can intervene. "Yes," I hear myself say, the word tasting foreign yet exhilarating on my tongue. "I accept." The grandfather clock chimes the hour as I sit there, dazed, realizing my life just divided neatly into before and after. The chrome elevator doors slide open to reveal the executive floor, still quiet at 7:15 a.m. My new keycard hangs heavy around my neck, the laminated photo of me looking strangely professional compared to my grocery store uniform. The plush carpet muffles my footsteps as I make my way to my office, where floor-to-ceiling windows showcase Denver waking up below. 3 weeks into this new life, my hands no longer shake when I handle important documents. The clinic systems come surprisingly easy to me, as if my mind had been starving for this kind of challenge all those years of scanning cereal boxes and mopping floors. I organize Michael's chaotic schedule with color-coded tabs, anticipate which reports he'll need before meetings, even catch a billing error that saves the cardiology department thousands. Michael himself remains an enigma. All sharp angles and calculated movements, he speaks in bullet points and expects perfection. Yet sometimes, when he thinks I'm not looking, I catch him watching me with an expression I can't quite name. Yesterday, he appeared at my doorway at 6:45 p.m., long after most staff had left, holding 2 cups of coffee. "Walk me through the Thompson merger files again," he'd said, though we both knew he'd memorized those documents days ago. Mrs. Harper visits the office every Thursday. Today she perches on the edge of my desk. Her perfume, that same lavender scent, mixing with the sterile hospital smell. Her fingers trail across the framed photo on my desk, the only personal item in my otherwise pristine workspace. My parents and me at my high school graduation. "You've done wonders with this place," she says, eyes flickering to Michael's closed office door. "And with my son." I straighten a stack of files that doesn't need straightening. "He's a good boss," she hums thoughtfully, adjusting the silk scarf at her neck. "Michael hasn't brought coffee to an assistant since, well, ever." When I look up, her knowing smile sends heat rushing to my cheeks. "Just something to consider, dear." The rest of the day passes in a haze. During our afternoon meeting, I become hyper-aware of every detail. The way Michael's sleeves are rolled to his elbows, revealing strong forearms, how he absent-mindedly chews his lower lip when reviewing contracts, that single lock of hair that refuses to stay in place no matter how often he pushes it back. When our fingers brush passing a folder, electricity zips up my arm. His sharp intake of breath tells me he felt it too. For one charged moment, our eyes lock, and something unspoken passes between us, something terrifying and exhilarating all at once. I look away first, pretending to adjust my headset. This job is my lifeline, my ticket to a future I'd nearly given up on. The thought of jeopardizing it makes my stomach clench. Yet as I sneak another glance at Michael's focus profile, I can't help but wonder what it would be like to trace that stubborn jawline, to smooth the perpetual crease between his brows with my fingertips. The office intercom buzzes, shattering the moment. Back to business. Back to safety. But the seed has been planted, and try as I might, I can't stop thinking about how his eyes darkened when our hands touched. The emergency meeting notification pings across my phone at 5:37 a.m., dragging me from restless dreams. The boardroom hums with tense energy when I arrive, executives clustered around the glass table like storm clouds gathering. Michael stands at the head, his usual controlled demeanor fractured, tie slightly askew, jaw clenched tight enough to grind stone. The crisis unfolds in clipped corporate phrases. Our lead investor pulling out, the new pediatric wing in jeopardy, millions in funding evaporating overnight. Charts flash across the screen, showing nosediving projections. Someone mentions layoffs. The air grows thick with panic and expensive cologne. Michael's voice cuts through the noise like a scalpel. We proceed as planned. His words leave no room for argument, but I see the flicker of doubt in his eyes when the CFO mentions liquidating assets. My fingers move before my brain catches up, pulling up community outreach files from last quarter. The numbers dance before my sleep-deprived eyes. Small donations adding up, local charities with surprising resources. An idea forms, fragile but persistent. I wait until the room empties before approaching Michael. His office smells like stress and too strong coffee. When I lay out my proposal, bypassing corporate investors for grassroots support, he stares at me like I've suggested funding the project with monopoly money. "It's beneath us," he snaps, fingers drumming the mahogany desk. "It's smart," I counter, surprising us both with my steadiness. People support what they help build. 3 excruciating days follow. I become a woman possessed, meeting with community leaders, drafting proposals between sips of cold coffee, convincing skeptical board members one by one. Michael watches from a distance, his expression unreadable. When the Denver Family Foundation pledges their support at a press conference, the flashbulbs catch Michael's rare, genuine smile. By week's end, we've secured not just funding but something more valuable, local goodwill and media coverage money can't buy. That night, a knock startles me from my paperwork. Michael stands in my doorway, the dim hallway light carving shadows across his face. Without a word, he crosses to my desk and places 2 things before me, a single key and a folded blueprint labeled Harper Community Health Initiative. His fingers tremble slightly when they brush mine. "I never saw what was right in front of me," he says, voice rough with uncharacteristic vulnerability. The plans reveal free clinics in neighborhoods like the one where he found me, spaces where no one gets turned away for empty wallets. The key glints under my desk lamp, catching the tears I don't realize have fallen. In this moment, the man who built an empire on cold calculations offers me something far more dangerous: his heart, his vision, and the terrifying freedom to help reshape both. Outside my window, the city lights blur into golden streaks. Somewhere below, a girl walks home from her second job, unaware her life might change tomorrow. And here we stand, two broken people who somehow make each other whole, on the brink of something too big to name. 2 years to the day after Michael placed that key in my hand, I stand before the floor-to-ceiling windows of our flagship community health center, watching the sunrise paint the Denver skyline in hues of gold and rose. My fingers trace the raised lettering on my newly minted business card, * Dr. Emily Harper, clinical psychologist *, still warm from the printer. The weight of it in my palm feels like coming home. Downstairs, the lobby hums with last-minute preparations. Volunteers arrange pamphlets in neat rows while receptionists test computer systems. Through the glass doors, I see them already forming, a line of tired faces and hopeful eyes, people clutching insurance cards or nothing at all, their postures mirroring mine on that grocery store shift years ago. Michael appears beside me, his tailored suit failing to hide the boyish excitement in his movements. His hand finds the small of my back, warm and familiar. Together we watch Mrs. Harper, Evelyn now, greet each early arrival personally, her silver hair catching the morning light as she bends to listen to an elderly man's whispered concerns. My wedding band winks as I adjust my white coat. The ceremony was small, just family and a few friends in Evelyn's garden. Michael surprised me by exchanging vows not in some grand ballroom, but beneath the same grocery store awning where we first crossed paths. The manager who once scolded me for helping Evelyn now proudly displays our photo by Register 3. The ribbon-cutting scissors feel heavier than expected in my grip. Cameras flash as we make the first symbolic snip, but my eyes stay fixed on the woman near the back of the crowd. A young cashier in a familiar blue apron, sneaking a peek at her watch while waiting for her mother's consultation. Our gazes meet, and in her weary smile I see the ghost of my former self. Later, when the last patient has been seen and the staff begins to wind down, I find myself drawn back to that spot by the windows. The city lights twinkle below, indifferent yet beautiful. Michael joins me, his tie loosened and sleeves rolled up from a day spent doing intake paperwork alongside interns. Without a word, he presses a folded $5 bill into my palm, the exact amount I once spent on a stranger's medicine. We stay there in comfortable silence, watching the night shift workers pass below. Somewhere out there, another Emily is counting pennies at a bus stop. Another Michael is buried in spreadsheets, unaware his life could change at any moment. The thought doesn't sadden me, it fills me with quiet wonder. Pain, I've learned, never truly disappears. But sometimes, if we're brave enough to let it, that pain becomes the crack where light gets in. And from that light, miracles grow. The security guard's keys jingle as he makes his final rounds. Tomorrow will bring new challenges, new heartaches, new triumphs. But for now, in this hushed moment between days, I lean into my husband's side and breathe. The clinic's lights burn steady behind us, a beacon in the gathering dark.